So yeah, bullets actually can shoot each other, so you can try and get two ships and fire them at each other, and they should collide. The rendering, just the thing I showed you, where you do the scaled fade down at the end. And that's about that. Any questions about it? Nope.
If you were to go around wanting to preload sounds, is that just similar to
Exactly the same as preloading the images. One person did it in one of their exercises, like in Breakout. They just copied the image preloader and made a sound preloader and do the same thing, send it a list of sound files. It loads them at the start. That way the sound would always be there. Whereas with my system, the sounds will take a little while to load in, but it's only a little while, and a missing sound isn't as unpleasant as a missing graphic. So I just chose to be lazy about it. Right, so that's nearly the end. I think there's one more thing to say today, and that's yep, today's the day. I don't know about you, but I've been waiting more than a quarter of a century for this. It's a big deal for me. Finally happened, October the 21st, 2015. I can't believe it.
Taxi cab. What do you mean a taxi cab? That was your flight. Precisely. Wow, what's going on, huh? Where are we? When are we?
We're descending toward Hill Valley, California at 4:29 p.m. on Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
2015? We were in the future. Future? What do you mean? How are we in the future? Jennifer, I don't know how to tell you this, but you're in a time machine.
This is the year 2015?
October 21st, 2015.
God, I thought you were kidding. What did you actually say?
Do you understand? This is the future for me. You've all seen these films, right?
Yes.
Has anyone not seen the Back to the Future films? Oh, for God's sake, get that fixed. Disgraceful. So I thought we could just check the time circuits. This web page might be experiencing high load right now, but we'll see. I'm going to get it to the minute. Yes. Okay. Yes! I survived. That's basically been my goal up to this point. Okay. So I travelled here from the 1980s in my time machine. That's why all my references are so archaic. I did it by travelling at the rate of 1 second per second through time for 1 billion seconds. There's a thing called Wolfram Alpha that's like a search engine that can calculate stuff about the world. You go and ask it how many seconds it's been since Marty left, 1985. 9.463 times 10 to the 8 seconds. That is nearly 1 billion seconds. In fact, if you do it the other way, and you type in 1 billion seconds, it's about 30 years. And 1 billion seconds ago, so it was actually 84, it was a bit less than 1 billion, 1984, and in 1 billion seconds from now it will be 2047. So 2047, I guess, is your idea of the future, or 2045 maybe. Yeah. I wish I could have done it in a more intelligent way, but... So let's look at whether the Back to the Future films got it right about predicting the future.
Wednesday, October 21st, 2015.
Do you know what this means?
Yep, got those.
Sure can unmake Wait a minute. Cubs won the World Series. I didn't get the time machine to win it that way. I had the time machine to travel through time.
So, did they get...
The flying cars.
No, that's true. So, did they get it right? No, of course. It was completely wrong in all important respects. I think the interesting thing about the future as imagined in the past, almost nobody saw smartphones coming, until they'd actually happened, and they've just revolutionised the way people get on with things, to the point where they're probably almost invisible to you young people, because they've just been so normalised. But that's just a huge change, and most predictive sci-fi totally missed out on that. I mean, maybe Star Trek with the communicators was close, but most people just didn't see that coming. Apart from a couple of fringe people, you go back and you look at Alan Kay with his Dynabook, which was more this type of thing than a phone that he was talking about in the late 60s, early 70s. There were people who saw the internet coming, of course, the people who invented it. They all thought it was going to be a good idea, but not enough people had heard about it back then, even though people were doing it in the 60s, and some visionaries were, like Vannevar Bush was speculating about something a bit like an internet in 1945. So this is what everyone says, where's my hoverboard? But of course, they weren't trying to seriously predict the future. A lot of these things were just there for laughs, as a comic extrapolation. Also, I think flying cars and hoverboards don't make any sense. I mean, it's never going to be worth it. The energy cost to overcome gravity is never going to be comparable with just rolling along the surface of a thing. And obviously having cars in the sky would be incredibly dangerous and stupid. At the very least, if they were going to do it, they'd have to be reliably self-driving. And that's something we might see. The self-driving cars are a thing that I think you're all going to see. In fact, I was thinking about this earlier and it occurred to me, in 25 or 30 years from now, it's conceivable that some of you might be teaching some group of younglings about stuff. Don't know what you'll be teaching. You won't be teaching them how to write 2D games in JavaScript. You'll maybe be teaching them how to write AI persona plugins for their augmented reality brain mashing machine that you'll be, whatever it is you're doing. And you'll be talking about in the old days when you used to have to drive cars yourself and people actually had to learn how to do it and it was like a rite of passage and they'll just look at you as if you're a sad old man. Yes, that look right there that you have right now, that's the one. Virtual reality been predicted for ages and it's in Back to the Future 2. I think this time it might happen. The Oculus VR thing is coming out starting next year. There'll be many others. It might fail again, but I think it's plausible that it will succeed this time. The technology really wasn't ready back in the 90s at the last wave, but nowadays things have come on enough that it might be viable. And I actually think augmented reality will be interesting. I think that's the one to watch out for now. In case you don't know what it is, augmented reality is when the fake 3D stuff is on top of the real world. So somehow you have to, project the fake images over the top of the real ones. We need new display technology for that. One of the big problems with current systems is that the first thing you have to know about your eyes is if you try to do things with glasses, your eyes can't focus on things that are that close to you. You can't see them. Right? If you just you just hold your phone up to your eye, it doesn't work, right? You can't see it. So the problem is that current systems need to have big, stupid, heavy lenses on them, magnifying lenses, that basically create fake images that make it look as if the images are further away than they really are, make them look as if they're about here, which is something you can focus on. But there are other ways you might want to put fake images into the eye, like scanning it with lasers and shit, that potentially might overcome that and be able to get you down to like a spectacles type form factor. I think that'd be awesome if it happened.
Do you know Google Cardboard?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've actually played with Google Cardboard. One of the guys at work has got it. It's a funny little thing. And of course I've had access to some of the newer ones, the what's the one that Oculus are doing, the Gear VR, where you slide the phone into a proper cradle. I've played with that. I've also played with the Oculus kit and a couple of things, one of the perks of the job. So these are some links you could follow later if you care. There's people trying to kind of think about those. I think the predictions we made in the past are hugely fascinating, kind of in their own right, and also because what they tell us about the likely future from now and what they tell us about how bad we are at predicting stuff. Just one of my pet obsessions. So it occurs to me, 2045 is the next big step from now. I might not make it. Scottish people are notoriously short-lived because of our dreadful diet and overconsumption of alcohol. But most of you are probably going to make it, barring accidents. And I think it's interesting. Try and have a think about it, right? Try and think about what 30 more years of progress is going to do, and look at what people were thinking when they did it in 85. Think about the fact they totally missed the mobile phone. What's the thing that you're totally missing that will revolutionise the world, but that nobody's quite seen it yet? I think it's probably there somewhere. Somebody knows, but it's just not quite ripe yet. So hopefully the future won't look like that. That's what will happen if it all goes wrong. Anyone recognise this? Yeah, The Road, brilliant movie. So that's what will happen in 30 years from now if we fuck it up. And maybe that's what will happen if we don't. Anyone recognise that? Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey. I like the fashion, so I think that's cool. I think it's totally radical. So, who knows? I don't know what way it's going to go. Anyone seen this yet?
Yes.
Okay, so you've already seen it, and it's a little bit trite, but I thought I would play it anyway, because if not today, then when?
Great Scott! If my calculations are correct, it is now precisely October 21st, 2015. The future has finally arrived. Yes, it is different than we all thought. But don't worry, just means your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it. So make it a good one.
Okay, so we'll end this part here. You can maybe hang around for a little bit if you've got things to ask me about asteroids, but not too long, because I've got to get to the cinema to watch 3 movies back to back.